All right, folks, welcome to this episode of the TEDxThirdWard Podcast. I'm the event organizer, Darrell Douglas, and we're joined today by one of our speakers, Tiffany Yvonne.
Hey.
Yes. So you flew in to meet us today. You also flew in to give your TEDx talk. And so I know some of the folks out there, you're thinking about applying, but you don't live in Houston. Yeah. And so that's one of the things that you did. Can you walk us through from the moment that you knew you were coming to Houston, how did you make it all work?
Oh, the grace of God, right? Grace for the race.
Yes.
Really, when I got the call, that there was an opportunity available, I literally had to practice what I preach. Yes. Right? I say that leaders make decisions fast, they fail fast, they go for it, they take the risk.
Yes.
And so I had 5 days
to
prepare.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I got this, because the truth is, for most of us, our lived experience has already prepared us. We just got to be ready for the yes.
Absolutely.
So catching flights is, it's on trend. Yeah. So that wasn't a big to do, but really just locking into my story.
Yes.
Not changing it up.
Yes.
You all had M.M. Washington, my friend and coach, right? So she was just like, you got this.
Yes.
And when I walked in the room, it just felt like family.
That's what's up.
And I'm not even saying that just because it's you sitting right here, right? Like it literally felt like family. Yes. And just so much pride and joy. Yes. And honestly, just shout out to you for curating an experience that was just like family.
Yeah.
They talk about psychological safety and vulnerability, and literally, I was in the bathroom shaking in my pants, but I was like, I think I can, right? And y'all just made it feel like home.
Absolutely. So that day, Saturday comes, and you're about to do this thing. Yeah. What were you feeling? What was running through your head?
Saturday, I was straight.
Oh, you were good. Okay.
Friday night. 12 hours prior.
Yes.
I was just like, it's not on you, it's in you.
Yeah.
I was using every gospel lyric as a rap quote.
Right.
It's the marathon. Yes. It's the journey, not the destination. You got this. And there was some point where I literally wrote one sticky note across all the storyboarding I had in my hotel room. And it said, "Are you having fun yet?"
Ooh.
And my brand has evolved over the years. I started as Purposeful Play. Then it was She Plays to Win. And now it's Playmaker Solutions. Right. And my one rule was, if you're not having fun, you're not doing it right.
That's a bar right there. If you're not having fun, you're not doing it right. Yeah. So tell us more about Playmakers.
So Playmaker Solutions is a leadership development and life design organization. We started by servicing executives and leaders in the corporate space. So organizations like United Airlines, TransUnion, Fenty Beauty, like fun things, right? Just helping people recognize that they could be happier, more engaged, and more resilient at work. And that resilience isn't just about pushing through, but like feeling good in your body. So like, how can your success look as good as it feels?
Oh, that is so good.
Yeah. But now, like new for 2025, you know what they say, Dougie, fresh for 88, right? So new for 2025, I am merging the two. So I'm going back to my sports roots of Purposeful Play, which really was helping kids get their heads and bodies back in the game. Stop overdosing on tablets and technology, and really using sports as a way to teach leadership skills to kids. Well, now all of those kids, or a lot of those kids that started in our early days of that program, are now accepting Division I scholarships or are entering, their junior year, and they're really being highly recruited. So the next evolution of Playmaker Solutions is really bridging sports, leadership, and life design, so that I'm not only able to impact the brands that are supporting these kids, like, Nike, Puma, Under Armour, those things, but also the elite athletes themselves, because they're so young. right? And some of them have these NIL opportunities.
Yeah, it's interesting. We just had TJ on, and he had a lot of sports metaphors. And somebody who I used to work with, Kobe Campbell, he was a character on one of the Madden games, and so NIL went to Rice. And it's just fascinating how there's so much metaphor, so much connection between discipline on the field. And I never really paid attention to the fact that athletes are so disciplined and how that spills over.
Yes, because you have to think of the lessons in sport are resilience, literally, right? You've never seen anybody on the court floor, basketball, football, anything. They get knocked down, right? And they have to get back up. Yes. And we don't judge them like we do anybody else that fails. We're not looking at them like, how could you get knocked over? We're pensively waiting for them to get back up again, right? So there's that resilience metaphor. There's also being a leader on the court. Yes. Sure, that's usually the point guard's position, but truly, that's why it's called Playmaker Solutions, because the playmaker sees the whole field, right? Including the landmines, the challenges, the changes, and still is willing their team to that collective success.
To do it.
But that's what we have to do as entrepreneurs, right?
Absolutely. Because I think, we're doing this TEDxThirdWard podcast, but I also do my own podcast just about my life. And one of the reasons why I really wanted to do it, I never... other than maybe Oprah's masterclass, you really never get to see that there's so many other parts than what ends up in the documentary or the E True Hollywood story. There's so much more to growth. I remember seeing, it was when Jeff Bezos, I think when Amazon first when they hit 1 trillion and he was being interviewed and, they gave him his congratulations and he said, well, everybody knows about Amazon. Everybody knows about the things that worked, but there are billions and billions of dollars worth of failures that the public doesn't get to see. So then you get this skewed view of what it looks like. But the play actually has built-in maneuvers for all of it. Yes.
Right? It just never looks like
that. Right.
What people get to see, and that's not just with us as entrepreneurs, but leaders in the corporate space, leaders on the field. We're showing the highlight reel.
Right.
And not because we want to hide, I call it the messy middle, but just honestly, authentically, when you show the messy middle, people are more relatable to you. But what gets posted at the end doesn't show all those dips and swings.
Absolutely.
And so really just embracing that. I remember seeing something from Amazon too, where I think he might have started in his garage.
Yes, he still uses the same. So his desk was a door. He still uses that door. I mean, it looks a whole lot nicer. It's got lacquer. And
he glammed it up.
He still uses it. And I think that is that is a testament.
Yeah. When I'm working with leaders, and again, at any level, from the locker room to the leadership conference, I always tell them.
Book title. So now we got 4. We got 4. Okay.
Yeah, I tell them before Beyonce had Ivy Park, she had House of Darius.
There you go.
Right. That's true. And nobody really talks about that. It showed up in Ross and Marshalls, right? It wasn't on the Adidas brand, but we have to be willing. Success starts at step 1.
That comes with it.
Yeah.
That comes with it. I tell folks all the time, my first job out of high school was working for the prison system. And I did not like working at the prison. I did not like putting on a uniform. All my friends were going off to Texas A&M and UT, and there I was going to work at the prison. If it weren't for that, none of this would be the nonprofit and the consultant. It was part of it. And so many times we run away from the thing, but it's no, you have to do this. This is how you get the credit. This is how you build up. This is how you prepare yourself for that.
Yeah. They say if, and I don't know who they is.
They
say, right? Yeah. If God showed us what we'd have to journey through to get to the end that we think we want, everybody will revert. Yeah. Because we're oh no, I'm not doing that. Right. Yeah. But sometimes doing the hard thing, and I tell my son, my daughters, I tell them, do what you gotta do so you can do what you want
to do.
Right. And so sometimes we will never know why we're dealing with the thing. And it could be working at the prison, or it could be, I'm a breast cancer survivor. It could be something crazy like that. But there is purpose in every single thing. And when we look at it for the lessons instead of the loss, if we really dig deep and say, what is this moment teaching me? Right. the whole story.
TEDx Third Ward almost didn't happen. So I wanted to do a TEDx myself. I ended up in somebody's sales funnel. They called me, and that wasn't right for me. So going to figure out, okay, this is option A, and that's fine for option A. Hey, if you could do that, you do it. But for me, I don't think it was my time, and I was being obedient. Mm-hmm. And being obedient was, no, you should figure out how to make this happen elsewhere. So then came applying for that license. And next thing you know, there's 16 people who add TEDx to their bio because, and so many people told me, don't call it TEDx Third Ward. Mm-hmm. Somebody literally told me, don't do it. Somebody else told me, you can't charge. People in Third Ward are not going to pay to see speakers. You're always going to have that, but it's almost like you said, because of all the no's before, mm-hmm. I just swatted those like flies.
Listen. One of my favorite books, 2 books come to mind. The answer to how is yes, right? The answer to how is yes, because we will have these big crazy dreams and we're like, but how? We get stuck in the how. When you say the answer to how is yes. Like it's that one next step as opposed to having to see the whole staircase. That, and then the other one is The Speed of Trust by Stephen Covey. It's really about how you can build trust within your team. But we must first be the leaders in our own lives. Mm-hmm. So building that self-trust, like I'm going to just trust myself when nobody else has the vision, sees it. Yeah. When nobody else sees it. And I even give a third one, rejection proof. Ooh. So that book was about going out and getting 1,000 no's, like just to build that grit. Of like, and the dude in there was doing crazy things like, hey, can I cut your grass to a random lady? She's like, he's trying to break in my house, right? But it was just like getting that grit to be like, it's not a no, it's a not yet, or a not them, or a not now. Right. And so your obedience is saying like, I had this one vision, but you created a ripple effect for so many other people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it showed me something that I actually love doing. I love curating the groups, pulling people together. It was a beautiful thing to just sit back and watch y'all interact and to see all the relationships that were made. Yes. And it's like, this is what we have to do if we really want to like build a better world. And so, no, that was awesome. Anything that you were curious about, something that you said, well, I wonder why they did that like that, or any questions that you had for me about the organizer end of TEDx Third Ward in the process?
I would say it was literally flawless, right? So I don't have that question. I will say the one thing where I'm a perfectionist in recovery, right? And again, I worked with M.M. Washington months before I ever knew that this was even a possibility for me. And we were working to apply and figure out the things. And so we would practice with her on this like faux red dot, right? Yeah. So on the day of, do you remember this?
I remember, yes. Yes.
On the day of, our red dot was the tiniest little red dot.
Let me tell you, my heart sank because that week, like I said, everything that was anything that could go wrong or that was going wrong. And so the red dot arrives and it's in this little package.
Like a bath.
And I'm like, what? And then we open it and I'm like, we're not going to use that. And somebody else was like, well, we could use it. And I was like, no, we're just not. And we ended up using it. We persevered. But I was, you saw when we opened it? Were you there?
I was out there and I was like, I know.
It's just like,
our doc is not this small. Because in my mind, I had practiced, like, I've done all these speaking classes and stuff. So I had practiced like my body movement around this dot. Yeah. So that meant that I had to contain and like, it's not a TEDx without a red dot.
And then it was slick. It was slick. It was slick.
It was slick. It didn't have the grip to stick to the floor.
We made it work.
So I was thinking like, why we got this little bit of
exactly.
Why didn't they have this weeks ago?
Exactly.
But you know, my photographer's in this space. Shout out to Carlos, right? So he, I know he's over there like, oh, you wanted them to be prepared, but are you ever prepared when you come here, right? And I'm not. But on the fly, we were able to make that thing work. And when I tell you them little feet, if y'all watch my TEDx, which you should, how to create a quit list, right? My little feet didn't go outside that red dot, but the photography, like it was so flawless. Like you had everything set up. So baby, I felt like I was on a
Yeah,
big red
there
dot.
you go.
And the photographers and videographers,
Yeah.
like they made us feel like we were on a big red dot, and they zoomed in that thing. And I think that is an example of how we all can make something perfectly imperfect. And it still was amazing.
Yes. Awesome. What's new with you? What you've talked a little bit about Playmakers. What else is new in your world since TEDxThirdWard?
So I think the evolution to bring back the vertical into sport is the major thing. Like you talked about, sport is such a metaphor for all of life.
It is.
And they say even in the C-suites, like, the executive suite in corporations, 90% of those leaders have at some time touched sport.
Yes.
Whether they've been involved in it or not. Also, just like bringing it back to the youth.
Yes.
Right. They are our future. And when you think about elite athletes, they're role models in their schools.
Yes.
They're role models in the communities.
Yes.
My son, he just turned 16, but he stands 6'7". 6'7". I'm still the mama. I'm still in charge, but he thinks so, right? And we'll be walking down the street and people will be like, that's Deuce McDuffie. He played for Team Hero. And I'm like, what is happening? So I think like just the ability to be able to continue to merge my income with my impact.
Ooh.
Right.
Wow. Merger. I think that's a title too.
Yeah, because it's what all of us really desire. Like we've been taught, I'll do a quick segue. We've been taught that like you either go get this high paying good job.
Yes.
And even if you gotta suffer in it and you don't like it, you stay put because you got that good job. Or you chase your passion and you live this struggling artist life.
Look at that. That is so true.
But Playmaker Solutions shows you there's a third way.
Yes.
Right. There's a better way where you get to have both.
Yeah.
And that just requires some courageous things, conversations, conflict resolution, and the ability to march into the unknown.
That is so true because, God will show you where you're supposed to be because things fall in line. Things flow effortlessly when you're going with the tide, because things are coming together. And sometimes it is easier to step out and do this thing that's not easy. It's not easy because you're building something. There's supposed to be labor that leads to reward. And a lot of us have been sort of veered away from it or like guided away from that. But no, that is where we're supposed to go.
Yeah.
Lean
and it's
in.
like it's what you're supposed to do when you're like, I don't know how. No, never mind. I'm gonna do this fake thing. But it won't stop calling you. It won't stop calling you. I did this. I was doing these live YouTube videos. Don't try to go look for them. They're real bad. Don't you look for them. Don't you look for them. But I say in that video, I said, and we were at a water park. My kids coming in and out the room. Can't get no quiet on the set that you're trying to make and my mom comes in and I say, like, Martin Luther King did not have a dream. He did not. I say that dream had him. And I was like, so for us, like there's a thing that we're thinking about and we're praying for. And then we get scared and we go back and we start settling for safe again. But the dream won't ever let you go. It just keeps you like, I need to do this, but I don't know how. I need to do this, but I don't know how it's gonna make it happen. I need to do this, but I'm afraid. I need to do this, but I can't let go. So when that dream has you, like Martin Luther King was he knew, Malcolm X too knew that there were threats against your life, threats against your family, and yet they did it anyway. That dream had them because every logical part of their bodies was like,
they going to clock out.
They gonna die. Like we've made enough progress. Me and my family straight. But they had a dream. That dream had them, and so I think this is another reason why I'm so excited to pull it back, to go back to athletes because I love coaching executives and I love coaching, leaders in corporate, but they can tend to be a little afraid to let go of their money. You're like, and so if that means I'm going to let this toxic boss treat me any kind of way because I'm worried about my money.
Right.
I'm not, I can barely coach these people that report to me in a psychologically safe way because I actually don't feel safe in the space.
And that's a very important part of it. I remember working at the prison and I made lieutenant at 22. So everyone that worked under me was, older. And I'll never forget, we had a situation, an emergency down in Seg. And I just remember thinking to myself, before you walk out that door, everyone is watching you. You cannot be scattered. Take a deep breath, because part of your response is the walk up to it.
Absolutely.
Part of your response is you mentally being there, and they need to have faith in you, knowing that you got it, right? Because if a child is scared and then mom and dad are scared, then we're in trouble. But somebody has to have it, and I think that's a big part of it too.
Yeah, and that's what I call a playmaker move.
Yeah.
Right? It's that deep knowing that like what's meant for me won't miss me.
Yes.
It's that I'm gonna put on my game face.
Yes.
And I'm gonna act as if.
Right.
Even in the midst of change and challenge, in the midst of uncertainty.
Because my thought was, whether this is about to be really bad or we pull it off, like either way it goes, there I will be.
Yes.
And it will be well with my soul, but I think I got it.
Yeah.
And if I think I got it, I think it was Henry Ford who said, whether you think you can or you can't, you're probably right.
You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the other thing about Playmaker Solutions. It is not just about performance under pressure. It's about how can you have a tiny mindset shift to say, you know, and I teach, this is part of my framework. I teach your thoughts create your feelings. Your feelings create your actions, and your actions create your results. Right?
So
and so if the thought is, I don't know how, then the feeling is going to be discouraged, afraid, fearful. Then the action is going to be either not at all, to retreat, or to go so sluggishly that everybody can smell the fear like a dog. Absolutely. And then your result is either no one buys in because they can tell you haven't bought in, or they buy in, but you're so stuck in that self-doubt that you don't do a thing.
Absolutely.
And I teach the opposite of that. Like, okay, that's T-far.
Yeah.
But a raft, much like a raft in the water, if you start with the results you want in mind, what is the thought you must think in order to achieve that thing?
Absolutely.
And if instead, like, even if it's TEDx, like, well, God sent me here. I'm meant for more. You know, I'm going to make this work in this way. Then the feeling is what?
Right.
No, tell me, like, what is the feeling?
Right.
It's
there. I'm already there.
I'm already there. It's empowered.
Absolutely.
It's certainty.
Absolutely.
I'm going to make a way out of no way. And when you feel like I can make a way out of no way, then the action is...
Right. It's effortless. It's confidence. It is. Yes.
Yes. I'm going to just put this out here. Right. And then the result is far more likely that TEDxThirdWard becomes a thing where y'all should be.
Absolutely.
Right. And so it's just that deep knowing that our mindsets rule everything.
So many bars.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for being here. And if you are interested in being a volunteer or a speaker for TEDxThirdWard, visit TEDxThirdWard.com. And we look forward to having you. Like, comment, and share below. Lots of bars on this one. And watch the next video, because you're going to be able to hear from all of us at once, all the folks that you heard from this cohort at once. All right.
Thank you.